Greetings collectors and welcome to today's retro game review. I say retro game review, but I'm using the term rather loosely today so I can cram in another horror themed episode into the season. It's all first person blood and gore today as we take a look back at Killing Floor for the PC. First person shooters seem to be intertwined with a horror theme, like overcrowding and cholera, they just seem to fit together. We perhaps have the original Doom series to thank for first-person horror being made accessible to the masses. It plunged us into a hellscape experience like no other. In return, it became a phenomenon. The mantle of horror first-person shooter was picked up by its spiritual successor, Quake. It wasn't all-out hell this time, but another dimension of industrial gore and Lovecraftian monsters. Before you knew it, horror was the go-to theme for first-person shooters, and there's a good reason for that, and that's the killing. As the player, you'll typically need lots of disposable bodies to slay, but without the connotations of nationality or political attachment. Zombies and monsters in general are a really fantastic tool for this, as they provide a generic wave of meat for the grinder, an endless supply that you really feel no sympathy for. In short, you need an enemy that we all agree needs putting down. I've heard it said that in games of this nature, you need a common enemy. Invariably, that turns out to be zombies, Nazis, and on occasions, zombie Nazis. Killing Floor falls into an interesting period for the genre. In November 2008, a cooperative survival game called Left 4 Dead was released and really put horror-themed first-person shooters back on the map. Players could not only play as the survivors, but also play as the infected in certain versus game modes. The game was released in physical format, but the digitised release by Valve on the Steam platform undoubtedly made it one of the first truly successful games of this type. Roll forward the clock to May 2009, just 6 months after the initial release of Left 4 Dead, and we saw the release of Killing Floor. A game that, at first glance, shares a lot in common with Left 4 Dead. Naturally, comparisons between the games were made upon its release. Both games were co-op horror survivals, set largely in a post-apocalyptic urban setting. There were mechanics such as healing teammates, and enemy-specific attacks. On the surface, you could most definitely be forgiven for thinking that Killing Floor was simply a cash-in on the popularity of Left 4 Dead. This may have some truth in terms of the game's release date, but this is most definitely not the whole story. Tripwire had seen the benefit of publishing through Steam, and they had instant access to where their potential customers were. However, a generic copy of Left 4 Dead would surely fail, especially as Left 4 Dead 2 had already been slated for a November 2009 release. When you look deep at the games, you realise how Tripwire carefully sidestepped the Me Too approach to their release. Interestingly, Killing Floor refers to their enemy as specimens, whereas Left 4 Dead went with the title of The Infected. It's a common gripe with fans of both series that the enemy are often referred to as zombies in the reviews. I won't get into all this too much here, but zombies are typically a specific type of reanimated corpse, rather than a body that has simply been manipulated. Think of zombies as the undead, rather than simply infected or something that has been experimented on. So, how does Killing Floor play out? Well, the first big difference is the focus on the character class system, including Field Medic, Support Specialist, Sharpshooter, Commando, Berserker, Firebug, and Demolition Experts. Each of these classes has their own perk, so a Sharpshooter may fare much better with ranged weapons, whereas a Commando will have stronger abilities when it comes to automatic rifles. Secondly, the game throws in an upgrade system for each class via an experience mechanism. The more you use a certain class, you will unlock certain targets. In return, you'll be rewarded by an upgraded perk. It's a neat little mechanism to make you want to both specialise, but also spread your class gameplay. Typically, gamers will not invest too much time in all of the classes, particularly the medic. However, it is a satisfying moment when a single player can drop a health bomb that rescues the team. Unlike Left 4 Dead, the action is very much based on all-out survival by brute force. Left 4 Dead has a more story feel to it, almost like being in a B horror movie travelling from A to B to complete a level. This goes out the window with Killing Floor. Having been based on an Unreal Tournament 4 mod, The game is all about the action and arena survival. So let those bullets fly and watch the chaos as you team up with 5 friends on the standard servers.
New mag, give me a sec.
I'm moving. See when you've got the job done.
Can't you see I'm reloading?
This focus on action really shows in the available weapons. Altogether, over 40 weapons and tools are available to get you stuck into the action. Anything from hand pistols, grenades, all the way through to automatic rifles. Of course, you will need to purchase these. At the end of each wave, it's your chance to find the shop and upgrade if you have the cash. This is where the perk and class systems come back into play. Certain weapons will have a discount based on your rank and character class. If you have all the money you need for your upgrade, it's possible to share your money within the group, giving other members of the team a chance to upgrade quicker, and in return give the group a better chance of survival as the rounds progress.
Josh, grab it while you can, lads. Here's some cash, guys. Someone take it.
They're guns, boys. You know what to do with them.
There are other mechanics such as Z-time that act as a slow motion mechanism. This really allows players to get in those all-important precision headshots. Killing Floor also comes into its own when it comes to its sense of humour. This feels very different to Left 4 Dead, and the humour here is much more raw. The range of various British accents spouting various taunts and one-liners gives the game a real feel of multiplayer fun. The emphasis here is on fast-paced action and a rather disposable style of fun. It very much delivers that dive in and shoot something experience, but adds a certain level of strategy at the same time. Typically, the first wave of a campaign will have you shooting the Zeds, the lowest form of specimen. You'll be able to handle these by yourself for the most part. By the time you go up through the waves though, you'll need to buddy up with the other players and not stray too far. You can even weld doors closed to keep the horde out to buy some time for your team. In the end though, they will be coming for you. Encounters can be very chaotic, and the pressure is really on to work together as a team to get out of situations where you find yourself penned in by the specimens. The game ends in an all-out battle with the Patriarch, a level boss that is as tough as it gets. Typically, players will lay mines to get the killing off to a good start, and then pile in with assault rifles. Get it right and you stand a good chance of victory. Get it wrong though, and expect massive damage to your team.
You murdered my children!
Bastard vanished.
For a survival horror co-op experience, Killing Floor really is a great bet for a Halloween get-together. It manages to walk that fine line of being a decent first-person shooter for experienced and less experienced players, whilst delivering an enjoyable experience with enough depth to keep you coming back for more. Killing Floor is often heavily discounted on the Steam shop, particularly due to a sequel being available and now the main focus for their sales. It's often sold at a bargain price and well worth the purchase if you like what you see here. So, if you're after a cheap, easily accessible horror survival shooter, then you can't go far wrong with Killing Floor. It's the ideal Halloween game for those looking for a quick treat.
Cash here, grab it all.
Hello again, I hope you enjoyed today's show and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!